Picture this. You're at your favorite Italian restaurant. The waiter brings out a steaming plate of garlic bread. Normally, you'd dive right in. But suddenly, the smell hits you like a ton of bricks. You're overwhelmed. You feel like you're swimming in a pool of garlic. Your dining companions look at you like you've lost your mind. What gives? Well, folks, you might be experiencing one of the first signs of pregnancy, a heightened sense of smell. It's like your nose decided to go into overdrive without consulting the rest of your body. Suddenly, you're like a bloodhound, but instead of tracking criminals, you're sniffing out every little odor within a 5-mile radius. This newfound superpower can turn everyday life into a bit of an adventure. That guy 2 cubicles over who always eats tuna for lunch. Yeah, you can smell him from the parking lot now. So if you find yourself suddenly able to smell what your neighbors are cooking for dinner from 3 houses down, it might be time to take a trip to the drugstore for a certain little test. So, what's the deal with this sudden super sniffer situation? Well, it turns out that Mother Nature has a pretty good reason for turning you into a human bloodhound. It's all about protecting that tiny little bundle of joy that might be growing inside you. You see, when you're pregnant, your body goes into full-on protective mode. This heightened sense of smell is believed to help pregnant women avoid foods that might be harmful to the developing fetus. It's like your body's way of saying, hey, maybe that week-old sushi isn't such a great idea right now. Some think it's due to the estrogen surge in early pregnancy. Others believe it's because of increased blood flow to the olfactory sensors. What we do know is that this super smell usually kicks in during the first trimester. Just remember, with great power comes great responsibility. Alright, let's talk about what's really going on in there. Picture your body as a calm, serene lake. Now imagine someone dropping a boulder called pregnancy into that lake. Splash! Suddenly, there are waves everywhere. Those waves, they're hormones, my friends. The main troublemakers here are estrogen and HCG, human chorionic gonadotropin. These hormones start surging as soon as that little embryo decides to make your uterus its new home. These hormones don't just affect your sense of smell, though. They're the reason you might suddenly burst into tears during a dog food commercial, or while you're craving pickles and ice cream at 3 a.m. But here's the thing. As wild as these hormones are, they're actually doing important work. So next time you find yourself gagging at the smell of your favorite perfume or crying over a cat video, just remember, it's all part of the miracle of life. Now, while your nose might be the first to alert you to potential baby on board, it's not the only early sign of pregnancy. Your body, clever as it is, has a whole arsenal of ways to say, hey, something's cooking in here. Let's sniff out some of these other early signs, shall we? First up, we have the classic missed period. This is like your uterus hitting the snooze button on your monthly visitor. Next, we have fatigue. This is more like I just ran a marathon while carrying an elephant on my back, exhausted. Let's not forget about the frequent trips to the bathroom. If you suddenly find yourself on a first-name basis with every restroom in a 5-mile radius, you might be experiencing another early sign of pregnancy. Section 5. When your favorite foods betray you. Remember how we talked about your nose going into overdrive? Well, sometimes this new superpower can turn against you, especially when it comes to food. Suddenly, that pizza place you've been loyally ordering from for years smells like a dumpster fire. Your morning coffee, it might as well be motor oil. Welcome to the world of food aversions. Food aversions are like your taste buds, and your nose teaming up to play a cruel joke on you. Foods you once loved can suddenly become your worst enemies. It's like your body is saying, oh, you enjoyed that chicken parmesan last week? Well, tough luck, because now it smells like dirty socks to you. While some foods are turning against you, you might find yourself craving the strangest combinations. The good news is, these food aversions and cravings usually calm down after the first trimester. So if you find yourself suddenly repulsed by the smell of your go-to takeout or craving sardines on your cereal, don't panic.
Section 6. Coping with your new superpower. So you've got this new superpower. Great. Except when it's not so great. Like when you can smell your neighbor's cat litter from your living room, Or when your partner's morning breath wakes you up from the other side of the bed. Don't worry, I've got some tips to help you cope with your newfound olfactory prowess. First up, become best friends with lemon. Seriously, this citrus superhero can be your secret weapon against overwhelming smells. Keep some lemon slices in a baggie in your purse. When a smell starts to overpower you, take a whiff of the lemon. It's like hitting the reset button for your nose. Plus, you'll smell like a walking air freshener, which is never a bad thing. Next, don't be afraid to speak up. If someone's perfume is making you feel like you're swimming in a vat of flowers, politely ask them to tone it down. Now, I know we've been focusing a lot on the downsides of this whole super sniffer situation, but let's look on the bright side for a moment. Having a heightened sense of smell during pregnancy isn't all bad. In fact, it can have some pretty cool perks. For starters, you're basically a walking, talking smoke detector. That's right, your super nose can alert you to potential dangers like gas leaks or spoiled food way before anyone else notices. It's like having your own personal safety system. Just think of yourself as a superhero, whose power is protecting your family from funky smells and potential hazards. Then there's the fun part. Food has never tasted better. Well, the food you're not averse to anyway. Your heightened sense of smell is directly linked to your sense of taste. So when you find something you do like, it's like a flavor explosion in your mouth. That perfectly ripe strawberry? It's like tasting summer itself. Your favorite chocolate? It's like cocoa heaven. All right, so you've been sniffing your way through early pregnancy like a champ. You've navigated the treacherous waters of food aversions. You've mastered the art of the subtle, please don't wear that cologne around me conversation. And you've even started to enjoy your new superpower. But when should you actually confirm that there's a bun in the oven? First things first, if you've missed a period and you're experiencing these smell sensitivities, it's probably time to take a home pregnancy test. These little sticks have come a long way, baby. They're now so sensitive they can detect pregnancy before you've even missed a period. Just remember, for best results, use that super concentrated morning urine. It's like liquid gold for pregnancy tests. If that little stick shows 2 lines, or a plus sign, or a smiley face, or whatever symbol your chosen test uses to say, "Congrats, you're growing a human," it's time to call in the big guns. And by big guns, I mean your healthcare provider. They'll want to confirm the pregnancy and start you on prenatal care. Now, I know what you're thinking. Ellen, are you telling me I'm going to be able to smell my neighbor's dinner from 3 houses down for the next 9 months? Well, I've got some good news for you, friend. This olfactory overload usually doesn't last the entire pregnancy. It's like your body's way of saying, surprise, you're pregnant. And then it calms down once it's sure you got the message. For most women, the heightened sense of smell peaks in the first trimester and then starts to taper off. By the second trimester, you might find that your nose is returning to its normal, less superhero-like state. Of course, every pregnancy is different, so don't be alarmed if your super sniffer sticks around a little longer. Just think of it as an extended trial of your pregnancy superpowers. Remember, this change in your sense of smell is actually a good sign. It means your body is doing exactly what it's supposed to do to support your growing baby. So instead of fighting it, try to embrace it. Sure, it might mean avoiding your favorite restaurants for a while or asking your partner to switch to unscented deodorant.
So there you have it, folks. We've sniffed our way through the wild and wacky world of pregnancy super smell. From the science behind it to coping strategies, we've covered it all. But let's wrap this up with a few key takeaways, shall we? First and foremost, trust your nose. If you suddenly find yourself with the olfactory powers of a bloodhound, and it's accompanied by other symptoms like missed periods or fatigue, it might be time to consider the possibility of pregnancy. Your nose might be onto something before the rest of you catches up. However, and this is a big however, don't rely solely on your super sniffer for diagnosis. A heightened sense of smell can also be caused by other factors, like hormonal changes during your menstrual cycle or even certain medications. So while you should definitely pay attention to what your nose is telling you, make sure to back it up with a pregnancy test and a visit to your healthcare provider.